Good morning.
Good morning.
I know we can do better.
Try it again.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, there we go. It's one of our little traditions. Okay, welcome to meeting number 328 of TMG Dayton. It's our October meeting, so we will start off with the welcome. So do we have any visitors today? Because I know some people didn't check it. You're not a visitor. Would you please stand up and just introduce yourself to the
I
audience?
need to stand up.
Yes.
I
I know.
really sore from painting. But my name is Mary Lou Mears, and I'm his wife. And we're selling our house, so I got nominated to take it here. Well, they show the house.
Okay.
Well, she's a Mac user, and she expects me to know everything, and I want her to learn some new stuff so she can help me.
So what kind of things do you use your Apple equipment to do?
Well, not much now, but in the past I used it for presentations, and I've used it
Okay.
for email, of course, and
Surfing the web.
yeah.
Is there anything that you always wanted to do, but you never could figure out how to do it?
Yeah,
Okay.
some graphic things.
Okay, keep those thoughts in your mind. At the
Okay.
appropriate point, ask questions.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. Who else do we have visiting today? You get to stand up and introduce yourself to the group.
Dwight Seaman, I'm sister-in-law, a member here. I guess my wife is too, so,
And you're a PC user, right?
yeah.
Okay. And you're running Windows 11, 10, 7, 8?
Windows 11,
Okay,
but I got an iPhone.
okay.
Yeah, we'll let you know.
And what do you use your
As powerful as
your computer to do?
modern iPhones.
What kind of
2 or
stuff do
3
you
years
use
back.
it for?
Well, sometimes, not real often, but some word processing, some spreadsheet stuff, and, internet stuff.
Okay, surfing the web, doing email. Okay. Do you mind if I ask what you do for a living?
I'm retired now,
Okay.
but I was a IT, get the term, IT person in Lexington, Kentucky.
Okay.
USDA.
Were you doing help desk? Or,
Essentially, yeah.
okay. Were you working micros, minis, or mainframes?
They're all micro.
Okay. And so, were you doing some network stuff?
Yeah, iMac. It's interesting for the government, our little office, we had 12 employees,
Mm-hmm.
they all had Macs. But most of the other government offices all had Windows.
Mhm.
So we were kind of orphans.
Mm-hmm. And what were they doing? Just
Word
general?
processing mostly.
Okay.
Word processing and spreadsheets and certain here.
Okay. Yeah, when I worked for the federal government, there's certain enclaves of the federal government that use Apple technology quite a lot. When I was with the Bureau of the Census, a lot of Macs over there. Intelligence agencies, a lot of Macs were over there. NSA, a lot of Macs over there. Government Printing Office, GPO, a lot of Macs over there. Because they're doing, print stuff, press stuff. Okay, at the break, people will come up and say hello. So I'm going to give my standard warning. They're going to be friendly. If they want to borrow money, just be polite, just say that. Okay, moving right along. Let's do news. Does anybody have any news they want to share with the members? Going once, going twice. Nobody has any news they want to share. Okay, so I'll share an item, and that is, as you know, last month Apple released the newer operating system for the iPhones and the iPads, and they also released or announced new iPhones that were going to be, and some people in the audience actually have those new devices. And then in October, they released the new Mac operating system, which is called Sonoma. And that's what I'll be doing a presentation about today, Sonoma. Other than that, yes?
I did read something on the internet this morning, actually, about some people with the latest iOS update having problems with their iPhones shutting down overnight while they have them charging and causing kinds of problems in the morning, but it's not everyone, it's not all iPhone models, and it's not even only iOS 17, so.
Happened to me last night.
And
Happened
that's
to you?
pretty much
That's right.
typical. So what I always recommend, all right, so Apple releases a new operating system for the phones and the iPads. The first thing that's going to happen is after it's out there for a little bit, they'll release a security update because they missed something. Then about 2 weeks later, they'll issue another update because surprise, surprise, the iPhones are draining their batteries much faster than anticipated. And this is the 5th or 6th time that I've seen the operating system released and they get that. So they release that one, and then the phones are sipping energy instead of guzzling energy. Then what will happen is, and it'll probably be later this month, iOS 7.1 will come out.
17.1 is going to drop.
17.1.
29th.
June,
October 29th.
October 29th. So October 29th, iOS 17.1 will drop. That's when I tell people like my sister and my wife that they need to update their phones. So I always wait that little bit. Me, I
Yeah,
just
do
charge
too.
it.
I do too, but there are people who are
Yep.
first adopters. And from the article, it said it wasn't only the newest iPhone models either, it was older models.
Mhm.
That's true.
And it was other operating systems, it wasn't just 17.
Mhm.
So if they said, well,
I'm on the
maybe
beta
this is
for
just
17.1.
bringing it to light, that it's
Yeah.
always been around to some extent, but now it's gotten more significant
Yeah.
to some extent.
Okay, good information to let it come in, evaluate. Don't believe everything I say, don't believe everything Dick says, but most of the time, we're on target. Except for Rick.
Never.
Rick's always on target.
Never.
All righty. So I'm going to say we don't have any other news items. So would you like to do your HomeKit minute? And while he's getting ready to come up here, how many of the members are interested in smart security devices for their homes or second homes or apartments? Okay, because I started getting into that the last 2 months. So I think I might do a presentation on that, probably December, once I really know what I'm talking about. And we'll get you switched
When you
over.
get to change the source?
Yeah, I'll do it here. Source. Yep. You already?
Yep.
I gotta see the screen, thank you. Okay, source, down, punch. Okay, you should be on the iPad now, or should Apple
All
TV.
right. This presentation is brought to you by Rock Ridge Retreats. If you're needing a place for corporate or family reunions or something, there's a nice place down near Lancaster. And I suggest you go to rockridgeretreats.com and check it out. So, speaking of moving, my wife and I moved to a new location. This is our new house.
Who designed it?
No, it was designed in 1960.
You didn't do it, huh?
We didn't do it. The house was actually in a Better Homes and Gardens magazine in 1957. And the builder built it in 1960. So it looks pretty much like it was originally designed. But one of the drawbacks, when we moved, I had to leave a lot of my smart devices at the old place. So this is an ongoing story of which you'll all be a part of in trying to find new devices that fit my goals of making a new smart home. Part of the problem is that the lighting controls, here's a picture of the lighting controls. It's all low voltage. So the section on the left is all of the incoming low voltage wires, and the box that you see on the right is a series of solenoids. So there's switches all around the house that you press a button and it turns on lights pretty much anywhere in the house. So that's one of the advantages. One of the disadvantages of what you're looking at here is just a spaghetti of unknown things. And so I've been trying to spend my time trying to diagnose a lot of problems that there are. But that's not really my top priority. My first priority is going to be installing some new security cameras. And so at the old place, I used a product that was called NetAtmo, and it worked fairly well, but they all needed a direct power source, at 120. So I'm looking at this product from Eufy, and the benefit of these is that they're battery operated, and the battery can last up to 6 months depending on where you place it, how much movement it sees, and it is HomeKit compatible. The drawback is that you have to buy a separate bridge device that they communicate directly to, and then that device communicates to HomeKit. So I'm going to try a couple out and announce how those things work, and hopefully it works out well. But like I said, they're battery operated, so I won't have to worry about placing them. I can place them anywhere I want around the house. And then there are a couple of places where there are existing light fixtures, so I'm planning on using this device by Eve. I have a number of other Eve products, so I already have their app on my phone and my iPad. This one basically is a floodlight and a security camera as well. So I'll report back once I start installing these and report to you how well they're performing. And if you have any questions, come see me. My suggestion for anybody that's moving is purge now before it's too late. And if you haven't purged and you're not moving, purge now before it's too late. So,
What part of town did you move to?
Oh, it was only half a mile down the street,
Okay.
so I'm still within walking distance of here. So,
He's still controlling his old house.
all right.
Dan,
What?
those are the worst moves, the ones
Yeah.
where it's just, because you don't really think of it as a move and you don't really prep the way you should. And the only reason I'm playing with it is I remembered to bring the batteries today, so it now has batteries, and you have a remote in your mail, you gotta use the remote. Okay, so next item would be freebies and wanted for sale. So those are two separate items. Is there anyone that brought any items that they put on the freebie table? Oh,
Yeah, part of my purging process, you get the benefits here.
Okay.
So anything over there, I think somebody's already taken one. But the little black stand is for laptops, so it's like a cooling stand if you're using a laptop. The MacBook Pro box doesn't have a MacBook Pro in it.
Okay.
It's just the box. But lovely Carol Merrill. And then there's a case, gumdrop case for, I can't remember what size, probably a 13-inch MacBook.
MacBook Pro 13.
Yeah.
So it's on the back, there's the case.
And then there's 3 different graphics cards for iPad or Mac Pros.
Yeah.
And then one item I'm offering for sale is this Sapphire 7950 for Mac Pro. It's 3 gigabyte RAM. Very capable graphics card for Mac Pro.
And
Old
just-
Mac Pro.
And just to add, 2 of the cards are NVIDIA cards, so you could get into the magical world of AI using NVIDIA technology. Kidding. I'm serious about that. Okay, and the for sale item, it's,
Yes, I mentioned that. That's this
Is there a
AMD
price?
Sapphire graphics card, 3
is there a
gigabyte.
price attached to it?
Make me an offer.
Okay. So Dan and I have a joke, when he brings his stuff in to the meetings, it seems like every meeting he brings something, and I go, oh, what am I buying today? Show me. So, I don't have money in the wallet today, so I'm saying. Okay, he knows me, he'll only take cash.
I'll take Apple Pay.
Okay, got me. Anybody else have anything that they're looking for? Looking for? Anybody need cables? Okay. Anybody need cases? Okay, so I'm hearing no, and people are averting their eyes. Okay, so we'll continue onward. So, next one would be help desk. Help desk. Does anybody have any issues today they want to bring up? Okay, George, you get to go first.
Mine concerns iCloud.
Okay,
I don't want to buy it, I don't use it, but I keep getting these announcements, your iCloud is full, and all this, I don't know what's in there.
okay.
So I kind of like to divorce myself from iCloud to the extent possible.
Okay, so would you like to issue a comment?
I'm wondering if he's getting the scam email I keep getting.
Yeah.
Because my iCloud is not full.
Yeah,
They're sending it out, and even if you got rid of iCloud, they're probably still gonna send it to you.
yeah.
It's a scam.
Bill Howe.
Ever since Apple said they were dropping, was it iTunes or
But
something?
iPhoto streaming?
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
There's just been a slew of these emails saying this is full, that is full, you know, so. it's just-
The other one that I've had calls about and I've gotten myself is you open a web browser and this is on a iOS device, so it's either on an iPhone or an iPad, and you get this pop-up and it's supposedly from McAfee saying that my McAfee subscription on my device has expired. And I go, wait a minute, McAfee doesn't sell anything on the iPad at all. So, oh, and it's got misspelled words and it's got colored text. And then I go, oh, it's bogus, it's fake, it's fraudulent, it's what's called scareware, you know. So be very leery about that. The other thing is whenever it pops up and they got that big phone number for you to call. Okay, yeah, don't call it, don't call it. It's fake. I'm telling you the truth. I'm looking right at you. You got that look of, well, no, it has to be right because Microsoft and Apple care so much about me and Google that they would, you know, send me that email to warn me about it. But no, it's all fake.
It might be worth showing how to check on how much of your iCloud storage is filled. You can find
Okay.
that out through.
Let me say this first. The one thing that I always recommend you use iCloud for is iCloud backup of your phone. So let's see, if I remember correctly.
Well, you can back up your phone yourself onto an external hard
You,
drive.
you can back it up to an external hard drive. However, you have to remember that I did computer support for more than a few years. So I've seen the trouble people get into because they have no backup at all, because they forget to back up. And if you use iCloud backup, you will be able to see exactly, you know, your stuff is secured. So let me just do this real quick. This is something I don't do too often. Hey, don't do that. Excuse me. I managed to turn my brightness all the way down. And what do I want? There we go. Okay, screen mirroring, I want to go there. Okay. Go here. Oh, this is good. I get to play with the remote again. Always good. Okay. Okay, so right now on the screen we're looking at my iPhone. I'm doing what's called AirPlay. So, let me do that. So, I want to make sure I'm doing this. Okay, I want to know how much space I've got in iCloud. I would tap on Settings. Okay, so there we go. There's my Apple ID. Then I would tap on, excuse me, cancel. I would go down, so I'd move down under subscriptions. You got this thing, iCloud. And then if I tap on that, it'll show me how much space I'm actually using. So, as you know, I'm cheap. So this is the free plan, and I'm using 1.7 gigabytes of 5 gigabytes. And the orange, it would be documents, excuse me, really orange is documents, the yellow is photos, and the green would be messages. And of course, Apple's more than willing to sell you additional space for X number a month. And you know, whenever it's a subscription, I try to avoid those. So that's an easy way where you can check right away. The other thing is, often people will take, I know this will shock you, they'll take pictures with their iPhone. And then, many months later, those pictures are still on their iPhone. Example, you're at a Costco in Bismarck, North Dakota, and you see Apothic Red for $3.99 a bottle. And you go, whoa, take a picture of that, let me send it to my friend in New York, where he'd be paying $29.99 a bottle, just to, you know, share the pain, not mine, theirs, okay. Well, 2 years later, I still have that picture on my phone. So what you want to do is periodically just sort of, when you're on hold with Social Security, okay, or you're showed up early for your medical appointment, you've got to sit in the waiting room and wait. You know, just rummage through your photos and periodically delete one or two that you don't really need anymore. You want to see how to do that, George?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so, hello. Let me get back here. There we go. Okay, and we should be mirroring again. Get in there, come on. Do the sample TV. I want to go there, I want to go there, and I want you to sync, and I want you to go there. There we go, okay. So let me tap here. Okay, doing good. So I'm going to tap on photos, and hopefully I won't see anything embarrassing. Let's see, what do we got here? We've got some strange people on a glacier somewhere. Okay, well I know all those people, so I'm not going to delete that. So I'm going to tap my back arrow. Let's try something like this. Here we go. So this is a grainy photo of me taking a picture of an electrical outlet. So I'll know, I know it's hard, here I'll try and go in a little bit. It's tough to see that. So I'll know that I needed to have that kind of receptacle plate for the person, the house they have. Well, I've already taken care of that, so I don't need that anymore. So now, hello, nope, come on, let's go back. Okay, so I'm going to tap on the picture, and then I'm going to tap the trash can, and it's not showing me, but basically it gives me a little pop-up box, and I can click delete photo. That didn't help you much. Here's another one. So that's a receptacle,
Go up and select several of them.
and then as soon as, if you have this one picture up, that's one of the creatures I feed in my backyard. The thing is, if you only have one photo on the phone showing, and you tap that trash can in the lower right, it'll delete that photo. And that means that eventually it deletes it from iCloud, so you've got more space freed up. So just something to keep in mind. Okay.
All right.
With that said, we're going to go back up. Hello. Tap there. Untap that. Put the phone in my pocket. Come back. Press source. Go up. Press OK. And we're back using the Mac. So I think I just had an epiphany. I'm thinking that most of the membership, with the exclusion of 3 or 4 people, you have a phone, you sort of use it, but you don't always know what you're really doing. Okay, so I'm thinking maybe a iPhone workshop one-on-one.
Hell, as soon as we figure it out, Apple comes out with a new operating system. It changes
Well, okay, there's a cure for that, and it'll be very light on your pocketbook, and that is you don't buy a new device, and eventually you can't update it anymore. Okay. The drawback is if it's your spouse. My wife bought the very last iPod that was issued, okay, and you know they're not supporting it anymore, but I have to support it, so she wants me to figure out how to put her Audible audiobooks on it when the Audible app won't run on that iPod. So it'll be interesting. Okay, so am I correct that there's a lot of stuff with your phones, you use them, but you don't really know how to use them? You saw me fumbling just now. I mean, I'm not saying that I know everything.
Well, it's the 80-20 rule. About 20% of what's available we use. About 80% of the stuff that Apple provides is kind of in the background that we, day in and day out, probably don't use. And then when we're asked to use it or need to use it, we can't figure out how to
Okay,
do it.
this
That's
would
my
be the
personal
20%,
story anyway.
the stuff you need to know. For example, on the side of many phones, there's a little switch where you can mute your ringer. Okay, now, don't laugh, okay? I am convinced that at least 1/3 of the people with devices that still have that switch do not know what it does. Okay? And that's not good, because we're an educational organization. Our job is to reduce ignorance. Okay? So,
Unless they got an iPhone 15.
huh?
Unless they got an iPhone 15.
And they have the new button.
Then they don't have that
Yeah,
button.
but they have a soft
They
button.
got a soft button. It changed. That button is gone.
Okay, now, did you just see that? That's called
Making the point from earlier.
aggressive technology. It's when someone has a device.
I don't have it. He has it.
Okay, when some, no, but you're pointing it out, so it's,
I know.
it's like second-hand aggressive technology. Okay. So anyway, moving
Aggressive
ahead.
technology by proxy.
Help desk, who else do we have? Let's go to Bill.
It's kind of a silly one, but my fingers are not so good dancing around my iPhone, and I really have several styluses, but they don't seem to work most of the time. I'm trying to figure out some way to keep my styluses active, so they really are some good. My finger is still better than the styluses. So is there some magic for make a stylus work, or some magic, or some stylus that's always working?
Okay, so let me ask you this. What kind of things do you need to be tapping the phone that you have trouble?
Just a keyboard.
Okay, so we're talking about your typing in
Yeah,
stuff.
typing primarily.
Okay,
Yeah.
if you have a Bluetooth keyboard left over from another,
Yeah.
like a Mac, you can pair that with your phone and use the keyboard. You know, you just turn it on, put in the stuff, and then turn it off, and then away you go.
If you're typing in bed at night, it doesn't work so well.
Well, it depends on whether you have keyboards laying next to you. All right, but on the floor, anybody else have any advice as to styluses that seem to work well?
I wanted to ask about the older devices.
Yeah.
Basically, they work well for you because we have them, we know what they're doing. But when is the security no longer being updated? And what does that really mean for keeping them working?
Okay, if it's a mobile device like a phone, once you get 3 operating systems in the past, it's time to think about upgrading. So if you're still running iOS 15 or 14, you really ought to think about purchasing a new phone. Doesn't have to be Apple. You could always go with a $30 burner at Kroger.
Does the same thing work with computers?
Computers you can unplug from the internet and still get a lot of function and use out of them. But if you're going to do web browsing, typically when you can't update the Google Chrome web browser or the Firefox web browser or the Safari or the Brave or the Vivaldi or Opera, don't use Opera, when it won't update anymore, that's when you need to think about getting a newer machine that can run a newer operating system.
If you do need to go to the web and say move something back, can you use a thumb drive from one that is updated? Put
Oh,
the
sure.
file on a thumb
Oh, sure.
drive and then move it down?
SneakerNet. We used to call it SneakerNet, except we were carrying 8-inch floppies, and then later micro
The
floppies.
little ones are better.
Yeah, I understand. And the SSDs are even better, the SSD cards, because they're big enough that you're not going to lose it.
When you drop one, it's harder to find.
Have you seen the little USB flash drives are about the size of a thumbnail? You drop it in a casino on the carpet and you're trying to find it, it's all over. If you drop a Kingston SSD card that's about the size of a laptop hard drive, drop that on the floor, you spot it right away. Especially if you put a big honking orange label on it. Okay. My thought to you, sometimes the stylus, it's not a powered stylus, it's just one of these cheap things.
Cheap stylus.
Sometimes what happens is it doesn't have any oil on it anymore because your iPhone is looking for warmth and it's looking for oil, because that's what human beings are all about. So what I'll do is I'll take that stylus that I got for voting early, okay, and I'll rub it on my palm, or I'll rub it behind my ear where there's always oil. Okay, sorry, these are real world examples. And then it will
Work better.
It'll work better, it'll recognize it.
So actually, using alcohol was the worst thing I could do.
Yes.
Yes, don't use alcohol. The other thing that I recommend is that you have a microfiber cloth and that periodically you just clean the screen. Because that'll remove, the surface is oleophobic, and that'll help remove the oil so that the phone sees the oil from your finger or from the stylus and not other oil that's already on it. Yes, George?
Under settings, also, there are some, I can't think of what it's called, but there are settings that judge how the keystrokes and all that stuff interact with you.
Yeah. How long that you have to hold to be a double tap in there. My personal experience has been when I go with multi-finger expressions that you can do, that's not the right word. What's the right word, Rick?
Gestures.
Huh?
Gestures?
Multi-finger gestures. I get confused whether I'm supposed to have these 3 fingers or it's 2 fingers and I'm supposed to twist it this way or that. So I typically if it's going to confuse me, irritate, or aggravate me, I turn it off, and I just go with the simpler expressions, especially when I accidentally turn something on. And then I go, how do I turn it off? That makes me feel like I'm spinning out of control. And that's not a good feeling. You want to feel like you're in control of the device is not in control of you. Yes, Bill Howe.
In system preferences on the iPhone, you go to accessibility, then you scroll down to touch, and there's a number of different touch choices you can make, okay? You can get the 3D and haptic touch, reachability, assisted touch, touch accommodations, touch to undo, tap to wake. There's a number of different touch settings that you can change.
Okay, so walk me through it, Bill.
System preferences,
Okay, so I'm
system settings,
settings. I'm on settings,
yeah.
and then I'm going to go down to
Accessibility,
right underneath display brightness, home screen, accessibility,
right.
and then we have things like voiceover. We have for touch.
You're in
Switch
physical and
control.
motor section,
Yeah,
touch, and.
whole bunch of stuff.
There's a number of different choices you can make.
Yeah. Plus, for those who are starting to experience hearing loss, these Bluetooth hearing aids will work with an iPhone, and oh wow, it's a whole new world for some folks. Okay, so let me just go back and make sure that I understood what Bill told me. Bill said I should go to settings, so now I'm in settings, and then I should scroll down to where it says accessibility. And then in there's a whole bunch of different things that can be done. Let's see what just touch has. Assistive touch allows you to use your iPhone if you have difficulty touching the screen or you require an adaptive accessory. Haptic touch, touch accommodation, shape undo. Oh, there's some stuff in there that I might want to use. Okay, good. Thank you, Bill.
Sure.
Okay, I'm gonna leave this hooked up to that, just in case we end up with another iPhone thing. Anybody else? Help desk? We'll go to Dan, because I have to keep, no, I'm gonna go to this Dan, because I have to keep him happy.
So I've got a second gen AirPod Pro set, and almost every time I open the case, one of the two are discharged. And I go to either my phone or my iPad and go to the widget, make sure that it's, which one it is, and it's usually the right one. Is anybody else having that problem?
I've seen it happen, but not always. It's just if it doesn't make good contact, sometimes they get a little dusty or something in there. But I haven't had it repeatedly. I just get it once every couple months. I mean, it just happens, yes. So you're having it more often.
And do you have your firmware updated?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just didn't know whether it was a common problem or, because I have different, instead of the silicone pieces, I've got a different type of cup there.
Would that, would it change the form factor?
But it's only happening on one. So it's not like on both.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I would do the typical physical inspection of the charging unit. In this case, I would use a Q-tip, ear swab, isopropanol, 80%.
Yeah.
Clean it out, make sure it's clean, clean the unit.
And usually if I press on it, it makes connections, it starts charging, and it stays charged, stays charging, even after I release it. So it's just like, it's some kind of a intermittent contact
Those are
problem.
the worst.
Yeah.
All I can suggest is you do the 8.5 by 11 piece of paper that you mount on the wall above your AirPod charging unit that says, press the right one in extra hard. But, that's not really a solution. Okay,
One
now
more
we'll go
thing.
to the other.
One more thing, Bill.
Hmm?
I have had some success when I've had flakiness with my AirPods, unpairing them and repairing them. So you say, forget this device, and then you go in and punch the little button and hold it down and do the whole reset up. And that has fixed a couple times when I've had really weird problems like that.
Okay.
I just got off and did it, maybe. Only thing I've had.
And that's a general tip for almost any Bluetooth device. Keyboards, remote speakers, any of that stuff. Unpair it, repair it. Now, why it fixes it, I do not know, but I know that about 80% of the time. Okay, now we'll go to that data.
My question or comment, or maybe questioning comment, has to do with what you were talking about, the touching the screen and everything.
Mm-hmm.
When I got my phone, I thought, oh, it can do touch identification and set it on and off,
Yeah.
thumb, or whatever.
Yeah.
And I thought, fantastic, I want to use it. I would get it all set up, and it would work one time, and the next 75 times I tried pressing it and everything I could do, it wouldn't work. Lack of oil on fingers because it's dry. So back behind the ear, laid my finger aside my nose up the chimney I rose.
That's another good one. Yeah. Except they'll think you're doing that.
Good luck on it.
We know that on oboe because you have to slide your fingers,
So do you think it's because of all the music instruments you play?
I don't know.
Or do you do string
It's just,
stuff
it's
at
got
all?
to be dry skin or
Do you
something.
do string instruments at all?
Yeah, some,
Okay, is there rosin involved at all?
on a couple of them.
Yeah, because there are some people I know back in New York, they do violin, and that one of their problems is they have to wash their hands after performing because their phone won't recognize their fingers at all. Okay, I like that. Side of the nose, back of the ear. Okay, good. Anybody else? Yes?
Does anybody know if any manufacturers out there make a house ringer? I'll set my phone down, go upstairs, and be working upstairs. And in the old days, one landline, you could hear the phone ring all over the house. And I was just wondering, I'd like to have something like that connect to my iPhone.
Okay, so it would be like a Bluetooth device connected to your iPhone, that when your iPhone rings, it rings that auxiliary device.
Yeah, loud.
Call it an
Anybody
Apple
know?
Watch.
Yeah.
What?
Call
The
it an Apple Watch.
old speaker that was given out here
Yeah,
years ago, 10 years ago,
yeah.
did that wonderfully. But my other Bluetooth speaker simply cuts out.
Yeah,
So there might well be products out there that will broadcast
okay.
a message like incoming phone call.
Send me an email, I'll go noodling on the web.
Yeah.
Bill?
There's one on Amazon that's a ring amplifier and flasher.
Okay.
Amazon.
Now, low-cost thing you can do, you take a honest-to-God glass, and you put your phone in it, and it will act as an amplifier where you will hear it farther away. And also, if you want to play music and you're cheap, you don't want an AirPlay speaker, they work really nice. Paper cups, not so much, but glass will do it. I haven't tried it with a metal cup, though. That might be even better. What do you think, metal as opposed to glass?
I think glass resonates, has a frequency. There's a reason glass shatters when you make a high note, right? Because it's responding to that
Yeah.
frequency and therefore
Yeah.
becoming in tune with it.
Yeah.
So I think glass would work better for that purpose. How's it?
I may try, just see,
Harmonic
when I get home.
amplification.
Okay, anybody else for help? Yes, Lenore.
You addressed part of this, but I wanted to reiterate the need of just some guru advice
Mhm.
on updating. And at the present time, I have 3 desktops, 2 Airs, 2 phones, and 1 iPad. And only my newest
Mhm.
Air is updated. I think the iPad, but we're not talking about that.
Okay.
My phone and this one Air
Mhm.
is the only thing that can be updated. The rest, which probably means there's no security. So the rest are under Sierra, High Sierra,
Yeah,
Mojave,
yeah.
and so I
Basically,
need to update.
anything cattle, Big Sur, older than Big Sur, you're not going to have a secure web
Right.
surfing experience.
All right, now the problem is my super duper Canon printer, which has
Mhm.
been with me for some time, is hooked up to one of the oldest desktops. So I have to use flash drives from what I create here
Mhm.
and then put it or send it by email to get to the old computer
Okay.
just so that I can print it.
Is
But
is
I
the
cannot-
old computer on your home network?
Well, that's another problem for another time, but all of them are connected. And so I'm spending half my life deleting things that are on other computers that I
So, 'cause
don't
one
need.
of
But
the
that's
things-
not the issue today. I'll solve that.
So,
But my issue is that
Yeah.
I know we're all different and we have different needs, but I take care of all the home finances, and I'm also a writer,
Mhm.
and so, and I also communicate with my family, most on text
Mhm.
and that kind of thing. So I'm rather updated, not like some of you, but I'm updated, but I need just some general advice on should I have a second backup? Because if this goes out, I'm losing a great deal that can't be backed up on any other computers, and other
Sure.
computers are not secure. I can't even get on my bank accounts now with my tried and true desktop.
Mhm.
So, and I need a printer
Mhm.
that I can use with updates. But it's very difficult
Okay.
to let things go, as you well know. But I'm prepared to unload. Well, I have a husband who is a hoarder, and he
We
won't.
do not recycle.
Well, I know, but I can't.
Does all the males in the room
Yeah.
agree we do not recycle husbands?
Right.
Okay.
So the one that I could keep updating is the 27-inch, but he won't part with iPhoto.
Okay.
So, or iMovie, or
Okay.
whatever it is that he
Linda,
doesn't even use anymore.
See the hand? Take the hands down.
Okay, just
Hold them
please
up and
help me
take-
what
no,
I
no,
need
no,
to
no.
buy.
Hands.
Please help
Take
me.
the hands down, pull it up, take a breath as you do it, and then release it. No, seriously. Just
Yeah, I
give them a-
understand.
Okay. So,
Didn't
let's
mean to
talk
get
about,
carried away.
we're gonna eat the elephant. We're gonna split it into different parts.
Okay,
Okay? Some of these solutions may not be for you. My job is to provide you with choices.
okay,
Okay. First thing, the machine that is connected to your printer,
yes,
the printer is connected with the USB cable or something like that,
Yes.
correct? You can, on that computer, go into your system settings,
okay.
and if I remember correctly, it's called sharing?
I believe it's too old, Bill, because
No, this
It's
is
not really?
prior to all the new stuff.
really.
You go into you're in System Preferences on the older machine.
Okay,
You go into what was sharing. Let me go back just so you can see where we were, because I went too fast. I know I did. So you want to find this folder, this icon that's called sharing.
okay,
You click on that. And then it brings up a bunch of different options of things that you can do. One of them is printer sharing. In other words, it'll turn that printer, which is connected with a USB cable, into a network printer,
okay,
where you'll be able to print to it over your network without having to do SneakerNet.
okay,
If it's a network printer, that means that any of your older computers that's on your local network, your home network, will be able to use it as a printer.
well, that's
Okay,
wonderful.
and what you would do is you would click here where it says printer sharing, And then you would click on the printer, if I remember correctly. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah. So these are the printers that are in my household right now. So I would click on the one that I wish to share. You want to click on the one that is connected
Right.
with the cable.
Okay.
Okay, and if you need a walkthrough later on, let me
No,
know.
that's all right.
We can do a FaceTime and,
That's
you know.
fine.
Doesn't she have to make sure that, that computer is awake?
Yeah,
Oh, a computer's away.
yeah.
All right, now, for
Okay.
just one last question.
Sure.
If I had unlimited money,
Yeah.
would you dump all 3 desktops and just buy one more desktop updated or one more Air?
How much traveling do you do?
A lot. Well, not,
How
I'm
about
old
the
now,
spouse?
so not
Does
as
the
much.
spouse travel a lot?
Yeah, I travel a lot. He,
Spouse stays at home?
yeah, he keeps up the home.
Okay. Is he comfortable with those iMacs that you currently have, those desktops?
Oh my God, he's before Mojave.
Okay.
I mean,
Well, since that's his comfort zone,
yeah.
remember, we're talking about personal computing, so
Right.
we don't worry about the technology, we worry about the personal.
All right, so I'll keep the 27, dump the other 2 that are like 11,
Yeah.
2011.
Yeah.
I can dump those.
Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah.
in another time, you'll have to show me how to dump and where, and
Sure.
is there any sale value, and if not,
Okay.
I'll just volunteer them.
So
Is that right?
what you're
Is that
going
a
to
good
do,
plan?
here's your homework assignment.
Oh, homework assignment.
Homework assignment.
All right,
You
wait.
thought you were going to get out. Okay,
Okay,
homework
homework.
assignment is,
Okay,
you're going to, on each one of those machines,
yeah,
make sure it's on, go to the Apple in the upper left-hand
Right.
corner, select about this Mac,
Right, right,
and
right.
write down,
right here.
okay, you already, oh,
You
okay.
taught me well years ago.
Okay.
Okay. And I have each paper.
Okay, for extra credit,
Extra
credit, you need to talk to your spouse.
Oh, no, I don't want to do that.
It's extra credit
Yeah,
that
that's
will
true.
apply to your grade.
All right.
Okay. Ask him if there are certain programs that are on those older machines that he cannot live without.
Oh, I already know.
Okay, you want to make a list of those.
Yeah.
Because you see,
Yeah, sounds
there's a way to run older
Send
Mac
him on
operating
vacation and-
systems, like macOS 9.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think he's at 8 upstairs,
yeah, okay.
because my ID.
On new equipment
Oh,
where it's virtualized,
okay.
okay? I myself have a spouse who has a bridge game from macOS 7
Okay.
that she doesn't have her Omar Sharif bridge game, life would not be good. And I have, through the wonders of emulation, been able to, so that on her newest machines,
Okay,
she can still play Omar Sharif.
okay.
Okay.
All right, I thank you all.
Now-
Appreciate even the nods that I saw.
I'm going to
so-
back away from your
Okay.
question for just a minute and address it more broadly.
Okay, I didn't want to take up too much time.
You're the reason why the organization exists.
I know, but I might win the
Today-
$25
Today,
gift certificate.
now, here, you're the reason we exist.
Thank
Okay,
you, Bill.
now, I'm going to spread it out further to the group. You have an older Macintosh computer. You cannot update it anymore according to Apple. If you take it into the Apple store, they'll say, we can sell you a new one. Okay. There are technologies such as OpenCore that will let you install newer Apple operating systems on older Mac hardware.
Okay, I'll check
It
that
won't
out.
be fast. It will be secure, but it won't be fast.
Okay,
It'll be like the first time I put Windows 95 on a machine. Yes, Bill Howe?
One main suggestion,
yes.
have a backup hard drive for each machine.
Okay, good.
Each machine.
Each machine, okay.
And your most important machine, be redundant now too.
Okay.
Because
That's what
those computers are going to fail. Those
Yeah.
hard drives are gonna quit working.
Yeah,
And if you use this program Super Duper or carbon copy, you
Carbon
can
copy.
start the computer up with the external hard drive. if it's a hard drive failure. But just remember, power supplies go out,
Yes,
hard drives go out, anything mechanical
okay,
is gonna fail eventually, especially since they're so old.
all right, thank you.
I mean, I've got some 2008 iMacs that still work,
Yeah.
but, you know, if there's anything important on those computers, make sure you back up.
All right, thank you. Yeah, because I've had hard drives go down, that might, and it's a good thing I didn't have
But
them.
do something like Super Duper or, you know,
Carbon copy cloner.
Okay,
because it'll create a disk drive that's bootable.
okay, thank you.
Okay,
Thank
the
you.
other reason why you want to do that is if you decide to do emulation,
Yeah,
you've got old programs, when you emulate, you're emulating an entire hard drive. So it's like all of his stuff, all of his bookmarks, all of his games, all of his scores, and you get that from that backup that you've made.
okay, okay, I got
now,
it.
That's
Thank you.
different.
So you have technologies such as OpenCore that will let you run modern operating systems on older Apple hardware. You also have another thing, Linux.
No, Bill.
Okay.
Move on.
For those who are technically oriented, Linux in many ways is the best way where you've got something that's safe, secure, and fast. Okay.
Okay.
And then last but not least is emulation, where you take that macOS 8 machine that's got Mist and Marathon and all these other, and iDVD, all those wonderful programs, and it's running as a virtual hard drive on a brand new Apple Silicon.
Okay.
So those are the three paths you can take.
Thank you.
Emulation, virtualization, Linux, and/or OpenCore. Yes.
I think that's, could be a topic for one of your presentations on emulating, running old programs on a modern machine.
Yeah.
I think that would be a, kind of walk us through it.
In addition to OpenCore, there's something new that I just have learned about. It's called UTM.
Yeah.
Okay, UTM. UTM will run on Apple Silicon computers. And when you bring it up, they say, what operating system do you want to virtualize? And so you have your choice of Windows 95, Windows 98, Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10, Windows 11, Mac OS 9, React OS, a bunch of Linux distributions, a whole bunch, BOS, a whole bunch of these things. Okay.
But Bill, I got an R&D that is coming to me December 1. It's going to burn a hole in my pocket. I really wanted you to tell me to dump the old machines and just use my R&D to get a new one.
Do it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Back up everything first.
Wait until the new iMacs come out with the
Okay.
M2 processor.
All right.
And that way,
What
No
now?
problem.
Three.
Yeah.
Whatever they are.
the marriage is safe.
Okay.
Lenore?
Okay.
We're not
Sir?
gonna see that much.
Do you travel with the laptop?
Yes.
Okay. I would get another laptop and an
Okay.
external monitor.
Oh, okay.
So then you've got the monitor the size of an iMac,
Right.
but you just plug that into it, get a wireless keyboard and mouse, and you've got a computer, but you can always pick that up and take it.
Oh, and then I can watch my streaming in a motel.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want, but you've got your laptop with
Yeah,
it.
I have
if-
a 327-inch I hook on this.
That's great.
If
Yeah,
you-
that's as good as
and you
it
might-
gets.
It makes it so much easier.
Yeah.
If you
On
think
Apple's
about it,
website, there's a place called
Hold on a
Refurbished.
second.
Refurbished?
Refurbished.
Okay.
And I just bought a MacBook 15-inch Air M2 chip for work, and it was $300 to $400 less than
Wow.
the newer one. It's not the latest and greatest, but it's an M2 and not a new M3 that's
Okay.
coming out.
All right. Thank you,
Sure.
thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate
We're
that.
gonna go to
one
Aaron
short
for just a
thing,
minute.
just, if you think about it, in the past, I used to sell computers when I was very, very young and just starting out in the 90s. And when someone wanted a notebook,
Last century.
when someone wanted to buy a notebook, I would frequently talk them out of it because I would say like, are you really going, what are you going to do with this? And they frequently say, I'm just going to sit it on a desk. And we're like, you really should have one of these myriad of desktops because you're not going anywhere. Well, the world's been completely reversed now. Unless you're extremely recalcitrantly sitting in place, you do not want a desktop, primarily. It's flipped. Now you have to justify the desktop. If you can make an argument to not have a notebook, fine, but if you can't make a strong argument, just go with the default. Just like in the 90s, just flipped.
Yeah.
Now you want to go with a notebook. And no one at my work, like corporations issue laptops to people. No one has issued a desktop anymore.
Remember, these devices airplane, so that large monitor could be a
Yeah,
high-sense TV.
yeah,
Okay.
certainly can. Great. A lot to learn, a lot to think about. Thank you guys very
Okay.
much. That's what I needed.
Okay,
Appreciate
and
it.
when you get home, if your notes aren't sufficient, email me and we'll get you going. Okay, I'm gonna say we're done with help desk unless there's someone with but that was good. Bunch of top, okay, great.
Real quick.
Last bite of the apple.
I have a laptop, it's a 15-inch, and I have a 27-inch monitor. I can see both items, but the ratio is wrong, so that I have to constantly go up to the top of the big screen to get the top of the image to drop down. Is there a way for me to change the ratio so that I don't have to keep bumping the top
Yeah.
and the bottom?
So you're doing mirroring? You're setting up mirroring, display mirroring.
Yes.
Okay, and you might have them where they actually are the same, just it's showing everything that's on the small screen, on the big screen, one-to-one. Or you might have it where now this device has two screens on it.
Right.
Okay, in either case, when you go into the settings for display preferences, it'll let you do underscan or overscan, and you can reduce that image so it fits properly on the big screen.
Okay, give that to me again, the settings.
Okay, like right now I have this set up so these two devices show the same thing. But I can have it, what is the standard? Do I use the defaults for that or the defaults for this? If I use the defaults of the display, it will automatically resize itself and do the proper resolution for that screen. So you want to be in your display preferences, and in there you can change what you need to change. And because it involves, there's so many different monitors and displays out there that it's really hard to say. If this was a TV, it would be showing me entirely different resolution settings for it. But basically, this is the thing you're going to be dragging until that screen is appropriately set, where it says...
Okay, where is that
Settings.
in the settings?
Okay, you go to...
Depends on which.
We go to Apple, we go to System Preferences, we go to Displays. There's the displays, there's your underscan, and if you've got more than one thing, it'll have, a setup for each item, okay? Okay. Always good to try. Okay, we're going to take a short 10-minute break. Oh, I'm sorry, raffle. Before I start the presentation, everybody's attention? Okay. I forgot to mention before, this is important. I want everyone to remember what I'm about to say. If someone comes up to you and says, "Can I borrow your iPhone? I need to call my mother." All right? You say, "No, I can call her for you." All right? But you don't let anyone have access to your phone. Physical access. Okay. The one exception would be you're in line to board the airplane and you have your travel documents on your phone, and the person at the gate attendant says, "Here," so they can scan it. That's the only person you let have your iPhone. if you're at a restaurant and they say, hey, I need to, check something, I need to take the phone and back from it, just say no. Doesn't leave my possession, I don't hand it off to anybody. Okay? Because even though iPhones are very secure devices, bad things can happen when bad people have access to your phone. Okay? Okay. And I know all of us are good-hearted people, we want to help people, but just say no. And then if they have transportation issues, you could always say, well, I can call the Dayton police, they'll be more than happy to drive you downtown. Peace Museum, wherever, ladies. League of Women Voters. Okay, so with that said, we're going to do macOS 14 Sonoma. Remember, we don't do the macOS 10.1 anymore. We do macOS 11, 12. We just finished up with 13, Ventura. We're now on macOS 14 Sonoma. Okay, so your presenter is me. This is the executive summary about macOS 14 Sonoma. It's secure. Okay. It's stable. That means stuff works the way it's supposed to work. It's fast. It really is. It's faster than Ventura on Intel and Apple silicon. It's faster. And it's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. The last time I was this enthusiastic about an operating system was Mac OS X Snow Leopard. Snow Leopard, which I thought was a wonderful operating system, stable, reliable. I have the same vibe about Sonoma. Okay. So, if you wanted to, you could get up and leave right now. You just learned what you needed to know. If you have a machine that can run Sonoma, I highly recommend that you install it after you make a backup of your computer. Okay?
Don't wait for .1? I mean, don't wait for 14.1?
No, it's good right now.
It's good.
It's good right now. Those of you who are less technically inclined got tired of me whining about how Ventura could not properly execute SMB, which is how Microsoft technology for moving files from one computer to another. Okay, this is on a network. This is not internet. Okay. And how I had to turn on Apple File Protocol on my NAS to get Ventura machines to talk to it. Okay? And how they couldn't even, when they finally got SMB working, they didn't even do SMB3. They were still doing earlier versions of SMB that were insecure. And I know you got tired of me kvetching about that. Sonoma does SMB better than Windows 11 or Windows 10. Throughput, connectivity, it's beautiful. Okay, so anyway, so this thing under the hood is a much better product. On top of the hood, you're looking at the car before you purchase it, you go, oh God, that's beautiful. Sonoma's that car. All right, so there's a list of features. There's more than 120 new features in Sonoma. I just cherry-picked a couple. What I like may not be what you like. Okay, so this is personal. This is like me doing a book report on what we did this vacation, the summer vacation. So, aerial screensavers, widgets on the desktop, a bunch of improvements to Safari, a bunch of improvements that they have. It's little stuff that doesn't look like it's major until you go, oh yeah, now I don't have that second and third step. In other apps, a bunch of things in system features that you can do, some convenience features, and last and not least, AirPods. better integration with AirPods, especially new features for people that have the, make sure I've got it right because I'm not an AirPod person, AirPod Pro 2?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So at that point, anybody got any questions? We're ready to go? Okay. I always put in there so I can take like a breath, read the room. Yes, Rod?
How far back can you go, I'm assuming your desktop, how far back can you go to desktop and still be able to update successfully into this new
Okay.
operating system?
You want to be basically a 2018 and newer machine. 2018 or newer.
What if you don't meet that criteria?
Then you can't update to it. It won't run on your machine.
You have to leave now.
And we had, Rod came late to the meeting. We had a very long discussion, thanks to Lynn, about what you do with older machines. But you didn't because it'll be on YouTube, not too long, and you got my phone number, we can, we can converse.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
Okay, by the way, my wife appreciated the gift certificate.
Good for her.
Okay.
Both of you.
Hey, I got gold stars from that one. Okay, thank you, bud. All right, moving ahead. Okay, aerial screensavers. On the Apple TVs, they have these beautiful sequences of landscapes. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. That'll play on your big screen TV. They took those aerial screensavers and they put them into macOS Sonoma. And there's a whole bunch of verbiage here. Let's just say you can use those screensavers as your wallpaper and on your lock screen. So we'll walk through it. So to get to all this stuff, you go to settings and then screensaver. And the next slide is a picture of those settings. And one of the things to remember is that you might get a warning that your display is going to go to sleep before it'll turn on the screensaver. So you want to make sure you've got, if you're doing screensavers, you want to make sure those timings are separate. Turn off display at 30 minutes, turn on screensaver at 15 minutes, that kind of stuff. And then you can pick a specific group like, let's see, Sonoma. They've got underwater stuff, they've got aerial views, they've got redwood forest, absolutely gorgeous. And you can select that in screensaver settings, or you can say shuffle, and it'll download these things and just roll through them. Eye candy, 5 stars, absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Sometimes I just sit and stare at my Mac Mini screen going, that's gorgeous. Okay, and then last but not least, if you check show as wallpaper, it'll do that as your desktop wallpaper. Okay, what we used to call desktop screen, Apple is finally using the term that everyone else has been using since 1996, wallpaper for the backdrop on your screen. Get my steps in. Okay, so here we've gone to settings. Remember, in Sonoma and Ventura, they don't call it system preferences anymore, they call it settings, just like you do on your iPad and your phone. So you've tapped on settings, and then you've tapped on screensaver, which is right below wallpaper. And over here you have where you can shuffle all, shuffle landscape, shuffle cityscape. So these are the main ones. You've got landscape, cityscape, and underwater, which are these aerial screensavers. And then down below you have the ones that you're used to, where I can show you the cover art from your iTunes, that sort of stuff, or it'll show, Flurry or Hello, all the different sort of old-style screensavers. Okay. So to me, that was the #1 improvement. Absolutely gorgeous. Next one, widgets on the desktop. I'm not a widget person. If you remember back in older versions of the Mac operating system, we had a thing called the dashboard, and you would have those things in the dashboard. They were called widgets. If you go even farther back, we had a thing called, let's see, control panel, and you had, desktop apps. Now I can't remember. It's that far back. Anyway, so you can put widgets now on your desktop. So if you go to your notification center, they were there before, and you could do this before, but it was hidden away in the notification center. So if you right-click on your desktop, you've got Sonoma already installed. You right-click on the desktop, you can pick Edit Widgets, and that brings up the widget drawer. And that shows you all the different widgets that are available on your Mac. But there's more. You can also put iPhone widgets on your Mac desktop. I haven't done it yet, but I do know someone who has. And apparently they overdose. They have too many widgets on their desktop now, because all they're doing is playing with the widgets instead of their other stuff. So if you're a widget person, you will be in hog heaven. Let's see, what else? Bump, bump, bump. You scroll through all your available apps, just like on iOS. So a lot of what I'm talking about today is going to sound like Rick Cartwright's presentation last month, where he was talking about what was new in iOS 17. Because they're blending the two operating systems together. So what works on one works on the other. So just like that, you can scroll through the available apps, swipe through different styles and sizes, and click and drag to put them anywhere on your desktop, and your icons will shuffle out of the way. So it's sort of like when you're in your iPhone and you're trying to move an app to one particular place, and you go, it went into a folder instead, or it bumped something over. It's going to be the same way. It'll be fun. You need that aggravation. You can place them anywhere, but when you get two next to each other, they'll line up precisely. So they have seen that people with a little bit of OCD wanted things lined up properly, and it'll do it automatically. They'll also fade into the desktop when the Finder isn't active.
Can it be minimized?
Say again?
Can Finder be minimized down in the right corner, and you still have the widgets up on your screen, or does the Finder have to be open?
What happens, Rick?
The widgets are always there like a wallpaper almost.
Okay.
And you can open an app on top of them and then close it back down.
Yeah.
You can minimize it. So you can minimize Finder and you still see all your widgets.
Okay. Does that answer the question? Yeah. When push comes to shove, I'll ask the person who's actually doing it to tell me how it works rather than blowing smoke. Okay, Safari. The main thing is browsing profiles. So you can now create browsing profiles in Safari. Think of it this way. You have all these bookmarks for when you're at work. And you have all these bookmarks for when you're at home. But Safari and Ventura, all the bookmarks would be there all the time. Now you can create browsing profiles. So you can say, I'm at work, only show me the favorites that I'm supposed to have when I'm at work, and when you're at home, show me the ones that are appropriate for when I'm at home. That way you can sign into different Google accounts, depending on your activity, and each profile will have its own set of tab groups. So if you're one of these people where you got 20 tabs in your Safari web browser always open, no nudging, no nudging. Okay. That means that when you're in your work profile, the 20 tabs you're supposed to have open in work will be open, and when you click personal, the 20 that you have at home will be open. Another thing, you can turn websites into docked apps for your tabs that you always keep open. So, you've got, pretend you're working from home, okay? And you're required to keep a particular website on your screen for some reason. Now what you can do is you can turn that website pointer, if you will, into an item that stays in your dock at the bottom of the screen. So instead of having to bring up a web browser, type stuff in, you can just click on it like it's a program in your dock, and it'll launch your web browser and bring up that website. Another thing, private browsing mode is now password protected. So, when you say private browsing mode in a web browser, what you're saying is, do not make a record on the local computer I'm using of all of the cache files for the websites. In other words, don't show it on history, etc., etc. My favorite time to use it is if I'm shopping near the holidays and I don't want other people in the household to see what I'm looking at, because you don't want them to know what you're buying. You want them to be disappointed that day, not disappointed ahead of time. So now it's password protected. So if you want to see, you want to go into private browsing, you put in that password, and nobody else can get into that. Okay. Let's see, private browsing. Okay. Oh, I got a typo. Okay. You can hold the shift key to select multiple tabs at once, because sometimes there are people who look at one website at a time, and there are people who look at many websites at a time. The people who look at many websites at a time, if you get more than like 50 tabs open, okay, they'll create what are called tab groups. Okay, Apple is enabling this kind of bad behavior, because what they'll let you do is you can hold the shift key down, click on the tabs, and then drag them into a tab group. So theoretically, if you wanted to, you could have, 200, 300 of these things all open in various tab groups, and you click on a tab group and then they activate.
I love that.
Okay. Last but not least, you can turn on fave icons in the favorite bar. Okay. That's the little icon that represents a website. So like Apple, it's a little apple. If you go to Google, it's the Google G whatever. If you go to websites, they'll have their little fave icons. Well, sometimes your mind works graphically. You recognize the icon for the website, but you don't recognize the name of the website. Is it ifixit.com or ifixit.org or WeFixit, but you know the icon so you can now save those in your favorites bar instead of having words. So boom. Think of it like a bank, What's the icon for your bank when you do banking? Okay, you just, boom, you see it, you click it, you're there. Those are some of the things that they put into Safari. And when I counted them up, there were 82 incremental improvements in Safari. Some of them are under the hood.
And all that stuff works on your phone, Safari on your phone and Safari on your iPhone. Exactly the same.
Yeah. So that's why it was very important to pay attention to Rick when he was talking about the Safari stuff last month on your iPhone. But you didn't take notes. Okay, other apps, and I'm just going to roll through these real quick. In Photos, in Sonoma, you can assign names, so facial recognition stuff will work, for pets and people. Okay. I know the people part, not that, who cares, but pets. So you can identify, all the doggos and kitty cats or birds. Doesn't work too well with birds. I've had people tell me that. Because I was trying to use photos of some of the birds at my feeders, because I wanted to find out if it was the same one coming back. It doesn't really work very well. You got to get them to look at the camera. And birds just don't take direction. Okay, in the Reminders app, okay, you can take a reminder that you set up and you can automatically convert it into a grocery shopping list. Okay. So if you right-click on the sidebar list title and you click Show List Info and set list type to groceries, It'll automatically sort the items into common stored categories, like, dairy, milk, cheese, blah, blah, blah. I tried it and I went, oh, that's interesting, because I now know why I have trouble finding stuff if I go to Myers or, Walmart. Because my category that I would put the item in is not what they would put it in. Okay, moving right along. In Find My, so there's an app in Sonoma called Find My. Okay, like Find My Device, AirTags. You can share an AirTag with somebody else in your family. So that would be your Apple family, if you've got Apple accounts linked in a family unit. And then when they're traveling with you, their phone won't keep telling them, hey, there's an AirTag traveling with you. Like you have an AirTag stuck in the, hidden in your car somewhere so you can find it if they carjack you. Anyway, and your kids look at their phone. My kids are in their 20s, 30s, and 40s, and they say, hey, there's an AirTag following us. Well, you can add, if they're in your Apple family, that's a way of linking Apple accounts, they can then be excluded from those kind of warnings. They'll know that it's a family AirTag that's tracking, not the other. In Maps, you can search for electric car charging stations, and you'll see which charging connectors it has. Not just where it is, but what kind of connectors it has, how fast they charge, and how many are available, like real time. In other words, who's plugged in and which ones aren't. Okay. And then also in Maps, you can download an area of the map to use offline. Now, Rick talked about that last month. And this feature can actually save your goddamn life. If you're out where there's no internet and you're lost in the woods, if you knew you were going to do that, you could have downloaded the map of that area to your phone ahead of time so that you'd still be able to, using the compass feature of your iPhone, be able to tell where you are and be able to navigate your way out. Find yourself to the nearest railroad track and then to civilization. But seriously, this is a feature that Google Maps has had for 5 years, 6 years?
Long time.
Long time. And now Apple Maps has it. Because what do we know after Hawaii? Sometimes the infrastructure fails. And if you're a tourist, you're in Maui, the cell phone towers are out, you don't have one of the Apple satellite phones, but you've got the map on the phone, you can see that map, be able to figure out, okay, how do I get around the cops so I don't get burned alive? Could save your life. Okay, a couple more that are in apps. In Notes, there are new formatting options for block quotes and lines of code. And stickers created on your iPhone now sync to your Mac, so if you're doing iMessage stickers and such and you created some, they'll now sync automatically to your Mac, so when you're trying to do iMessage on the Mac, you can use the same stickers. I don't want to know what kind of stickers you made up. That's your business. You can drop them in an iMessage chat group, email, note, etc. Find all your stickers in the app menu. This one, if you've ever received unsolicited nudes through iMessage, this has never happened to me. You can now block those automatically. You can turn on the block feature. It'll put suspected nude images and videos behind a blurred gray background. So for the younger folks, that have to deal with this cyber porn stuff, this is a good feature to have. You're airplane to the big screen, you're doing the conference before the executive board, the C-suite, and the iMessage comes in and it's whoops. Well, this would save you from having that embarrassment. They added some stuff to the weather app. Okay, You can look up yesterday's temperature and conditions, and you can tap any number to see the upcoming week in a timeline. 400 degrees Fahrenheit, oh, it's only going to be 200 Fahrenheit next, on a timeline. Okay. Most people are not into weather the way I am. I've got the weather station in the backyard with the spinning disc and the rain gauge. But for those of you who are, this is a nice feature. And then also in weather, there's a section that shows the current and upcoming moon phases on a calendar. As someone who has done IT support, the lunar effect is real. The crazy calls come with the full moon. Okay? You'll be talking to senior management when the moon is full, because they're the ones that go first. Anyway, but that's a really nice feature. And moving right along, system features. In passwords, system settings passwords, you can create folders of passwords and passkeys that you can then share to someone else, and they update and sync across everyone's devices. Okay, so you're working with a system administrator, you need to share administrator passwords for the machines, the servers that you're administering. You can now share that with someone else. You can also stop the share, which is also nice. So that's a feature, not for everybody, but for some of us that comes in very nicely. A smarter autocorrect. I'm doing quotes around that. That learns your typing habits. You'll see predictive text as you type. Just hit the space bar to autocomplete. My vocabulary is not that which autocorrect knows. So, if I use the term Boolean, heuristic, idiotoxic, it's not going to know those. But if I go, leaving home, boom, you start to type the LEA, there it is, predictive text, you just tap it, boom, shoots it off. So for that stuff, for most people, that's a really nice feature. Game mode. I don't know how many ardent gamers we have, but this was a cool feature, game mode. I click on my Sudoku game in Sonoma. I go full screen, and I get the little thing, we're in game mode. That means that Sudoku game is going to be given priority access to the resources of the computer. If I'm in Jigsaw, okay, Jigsaw puzzle, when I drag that piece from the side to its place where it belongs, I'm getting 80 to 90% of the resources of the Mac to do this. Now, if you're doing something that's a real-time war simulation, ships, World of Tanks, any of the Steam games, this is a really nice feature for those folks, because it's recognizing you're doing gaming and that it needs to be doing its top game for its resources to make sure your play is above par. Okay, last but not least, also in system settings, you can create personal voice to use live speech with an imitation of your natural speaking voice. Okay, this one I got to think about. So what that means is you're going to read a bunch of on-screen prompts, and the Mac running Sonoma is going to record you, listen to you, and from that it's going to create a digital facsimile of your voice. Or you can reuse the one you made on your iPhone if you enable share across devices. So what that means is you can leave a voice message from something that you type, but it'll be in your voice when it's on the other person's voice. Yeah, I know. It's sort of like, I don't know if it's a feature or not a feature. Okay. Convenience features. Autofilling security codes received by text now works with email too. First time you use the feature, you'll be asked whether or not you want to delete the emails afterwards. So you're logging into something and it requires some sort of a code they're going to text to you. When it comes in, it'll autofill it for you. So you don't have to read it, type it, because it's always, oh, I just typed it, but I didn't click in the box first for the type to go there. Well, this will take care of that. Another thing, you can now say that word instead of, hey, that word. Okay, I don't want iPhones to suddenly go, yeah, what do you want? It'll still respond to, hey, that word, but it'll also respond to just that word. And there is a setting in Siri where you can make it less attentive, so that you're not, if you start you accidentally activating Siri, there's a setting where you can make it so it's less, something activate?
Yeah, somebody's dead.
All right. Okay, another one. You can open a PDF form inside Notes, Mail, and Preview. All three don't have to be running. You can open a PDF form in Notes, the program, Preview the program, or Mail the program, and blank text fields will be highlighted for you to type in your information. So you just brought in a PDF for applying for a passport, and you've got all that boilerplate text. Well, the parts that you're supposed to fill out will appear as the highlights, so you know where you're supposed to be typing and putting stuff in. In Photos, you can look up recipes from inside a picture. So you're in Photos, you've got a picture, you tap the I button when you're looking at the pictures in your photo library, and it'll come up with recipes for that thing. It works really well if you have really good pictures of food. If you've got pictures of things that are not that good, it will get confused and not give you a good result. Okay. So on this one, I would say, yeah, it's a nice feature, but I think it's sort of gimmicky. Anyway.
What's the difference between goulash and lasagna?
Pardon me?
How does it tell the difference between whatever you're eating?
It's using machine language learning to match up that photo with other pictures of that dish on the internet that are on foodie sites that have recipes attached to them. So, you know. Okay, so let me just finish up here. We're on the very last one. AirPods. After updating to Sonoma, this is very important. After updating to Sonoma, you want to update the firmware on your AirPods. Okay.
Good luck.
And if you do that, you'll get these new features. You've got adaptive audio, which will take, okay, you're walking in a city, okay, with adaptive audio. Your AirPods will mute the people chit-chattering around you, the dogs barking and all that stuff, but you'll hear the traffic and the sirens so that you don't get clocked as you walk across the street because you didn't know it was coming. Let's see, when you're on a phone call, you can click the stem or digital crown on AirPods Max to mute or unmute yourself. That one I haven't tried. Have you tried that, Rick?
I don't have the AirPod 2 yet.
Okay.
I haven't. I'm getting them, but I don't have them yet.
Okay. And then automatic switching promises to intelligently pair your AirPods with whichever device you're using, your iPhone, your Mac, your iPad, Apple TV, or Apple Watch. That's not a new feature,
It works good.
but you got to update all your devices first for it to work.
It works really good for me. On my old AirPod, that works really well.
Okay. My wife complained that she was paired to my, Mac Mini. She'd walk in the room and her AirPods are paired to them. So, but that's.
Details.
Can this marriage be saved? It's not a totally new feature, but to make sure it works, you want to update all your devices to the latest, and the new AirPods firmware to make it more reliable. Okay. Boom. That's the end of the presentation if you need to leave, but I'm open if you have questions. Yes?
Hi, Andy. The Hey Siri thing, sometimes, the Hey Siri thing,
Yeah.
sometimes I'm in the car and I say message Kathy Toller. I don't say Siri, I don't say anything, I just say
Yeah.
message Kathy Toller. So it's, you can kind of like, you don't have to say hey, you don't have to have Siri. I'm not saying it works all the time. Maybe something for someone I don't call a lot, but
Yeah.
it is working. I don't have to use the Siri word at all.
Okay.
Or hey.
You have something different than sorry?
Yeah, I was just in my car, like in my car, if I wanted to say, oh,
Okay. Anybody else have a question? Nope, 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 nope. We are officially adjourned until next month. I need to confer with Rick at some point to give you a topic of what we're doing.
We have one, but I forget what it is.
Oh, media, media.
It was the media servers.
Yeah, media servers. Cody and Plex, all that good stuff.